You know it's this. Take a perk and a talk of that shit. Money swallowing like sis. Did it perfect in the kid. Got a billion new single, my hater, the big better put on the road, I just spit. I know we got $1 million, the devil, that shit ain't not cheaper than again.
Hello and welcome back, fellow anime lovers, to MangaMuse. I am delighted to have you join us once again in the world of fanfiction and fantasy. This is the second part of What If Naruto Enters Don't Toy With Me, Miss Nagatoro. Special note, this fanfic is written and a masterpiece of Nasha Rei-Kun on FANFICTIONnet. Do check and support the author too. Now smash the like, share and subscribe button for more. Also press the bell icon so that you never miss such great parts. Thanks for the introduction. Now let's dive into the world. Maki hummed as she laid down flat on her bed, wearing a dark red nightgown. In her hands, she texted her friends with nimble fingers. Sounds like a fated meeting. Hayachi responded, getting a roll of the eyes from the carrot top. Only you and Sakura would think that, the girls said with a chuckle. Still, it's crazy how coincidental that was. It sounds so. Yoshi said. Maybe he knows all of your Gramps' co-workers. If that turned out to be true, Maki would have to laugh. There was such a thing as too much coincidence. She hummed in her head before texting back. So, we're gonna be people viewing tomorrow, anyone got binoculars? I think I have some in my closet. I've got some. Yoshi replied once more. I typically use it when I see a pretty bird. I don't got one but my sis does have a pirate's telescope from her high school days hehehe, time to see some gross nerds. Nagatoro said, getting a snort out of Maki who then smirked. What, being called a pervert wasn't enough? That baka urchin doesn't know anything. God! How dare he try and fight back? That doesn't sound suggestive or anything. Sakura said and Maki snickered at the trail of cat emojis that Nagatoro used. Goodness, I'm starting to think Naruto-kun was right about your perversion. Maki cackled as Hayachi used several choking emojis. Don't joke about that. Sounds like a double standard, Maki texted. Don't you call them pervs all the time? Well, turnabout's fair play, sister. Hush. Don't think I didn't see how you macked on that spiky idiot. Maki blushed. Excuse me. She said in a higher octave than she wanted. What the hell are you talking about? Oh, please, we all saw the way you were hugging him. Gaimo-chan grimaced with bright red cheeks. DDMN. She cursed in her head before replying back. I wasn't hugging him. We were making it to school, DMN. Well, Gaimo-chan, that doesn't mean you couldn't multitask. Sakura said with a smiling emoji. Why, you were all on his back while he carried you like an injured swan. I bet you got all sorts of details on his muscles when you did. Maki choked, blushing hard when she remembered that, yes, she had gotten a good feeling of his muscles back then. That doesn't mean anything. Maki paled as she realized what her shaky hands had done. DMN. Ho, ho, ho. Someone's twitchy. DMN, Sakura. Heh. I knew it. A vital weak point. Nagatoro declared by sending an eye-rolling, tongue-lounging, cat emoji followed by a victorious-looking one. Victory will be sweet. Maki's face trembled in horror, cheeks burning bright until her eyes widened and her mouth twitched into a wide grin. As if I'm the only one who was feeling someone up, right? She texted and her eyes grew smug as the energy changed. Ain't that right, Hayachi? I mean, DMN, you didn't give that boy a chance. Jumping him like that. Excuse me. Gotcha. Well, Naruto did call you a pervert for a DMN good reason. Oh, yes, that did happen. Sakura texted and Maki could feel the grin over the connection. Tell us, Hayachi. How was it? Gross and don't you forget it. This sounds like a predator with prey. Yoshi added, much to Maki's amusement. Right? She's laying her claim pretty DMN well. The angered cat emoji allowed Gaimo-chan to relax onto her bed. Still, despite her comeback, she did remember Naruto's muscles, vividly. His chest was firm, like his back, but her view of his neck made her blush. She'd wanted to bite it for reasons she didn't understand. Oh okay. Something about it was so biteable. It looked thick and juicy. I'm some sort of perv, ain't I? She realized with embarrassment flooding her veins. God, I really just macked on some guy I just met. Maki rolled in horror. DMN it. Come lunchtime of the following school day, the group of 6 were on the roof, eating while observing through the bars of the railings to those down below. Humph, we've got lots of good views, Naruto said as the others nodded. Hee, he grinned as he finished his 5th bowl of ramen. Where does it go? Yoshi asked as Naruto enjoyed his food. I can't understand it. She squealed as Sakura I wish I could eat like that and still keep a good figure, she whined softly. Goodness, Naruto-kun, what exactly do you do to keep such a slim shape? Naruto wiped his mouth with a napkin before answering. Well, for one, I have a killer metabolism. I break stuff down fast and make energy super quickly. I typically work out every other day, sometimes continuously throughout the week. I couldn't find the energy to do that. Heh. Why not join a gym and just go on the treadmill every day? Sakura considered it before looking at her phone. I might be able to work that in after school but then my darling would be alone for 2 hours. Wait, why 2 hours? Naruto gaped at her. Looking, and smelling, this good isn't easy, I'll have you know. Okay, right, girl things, he said as Maki and Yoshi snickered. Alright, I'm ready to start drawing. Naruto nodded, getting up along with him. The two of them had simply eaten in their smocks, too, so they were protected from messes from art and food. Their easels were set up by the railings, facing perpendicular from them so they could see and keep looking at their side to watch those down below. They walked over to them and sat down before getting to work with a bunch of pencils. Naruto tilted his head as he looked out at the students playing soccer. Heh, he smirked before going after them. He caught them as best he could from memory before looking back again and making several more strokes about the other students playing. Naruto, meanwhile, looked out at the students as Nagatoro smirked into view. Yes, the wording was odd but he felt it fit. Why yeah? He asked and she snickered. Looking at all the not nerds. Look, that could have been you, she said as she pointed at a couple of students before blushing as they kissed. Ahem. Why yeah, I bet you couldn't do that. Naruto always said that Naruto could find small details about things so, as he adjusted his glasses with a grimace, he grunted. Like you're much better, he shot back quietly only to freeze as an ominous aura arrived at his side. Oh, look, those two are good dash. What did you say to me? Nagatoro spectered at his side, causing Naruto to snicker. It's like he's so good at comebacks, it doesn't help. So, we've noticed, Maki said from behind him, leaning on the railing with Yoshi peering over it. Hee, she's so easy sometimes, I wonder if she gets it. Gets what? Naruto asked and the orangette chuckled nervously. It's just teasing, . Gotcha. Yoshi hummed at the intense teasing that Nagatoro was giving to Naruto and the small blushes that Maki seemed to throw the blonde hero in their midst. She scratched her cheek before Sakura giggled at her side. It's interesting, isn't it? The most demure of their friend group said. It's just the most curious thing. They seem so ignorant to it. Well, besides Maki, Sakura added with a smirk. So they actually? Yoshi asked in shock. Well, it's not impossible. Hayachi's the hardest to get down but Gaimo-chan she's the most obvious. Yuga. Maki turned to them and Sakura waved her off while Yoshi trembled with a stoic expression. What's up? Nothing, just looking out at the students, hee, the blonde dark-skinned girl said with a grin. Maki's eyes narrowed. And that's the beginning, Naruto said, regaining her attention. What? She asked as she looked at his work. The rather hazy outlines of people weren't hard to distinguish, honestly. It was a bit weird to think, but, yeah, this looked more like calligraphy than drawing. What did you think? Well, it's interesting, she said before she and Naruto leaned around to Naoto's work before blinking. DMN, that's good, they said in unison as the nerdy-looking boy blushed, adjusting his glasses shakily. Why you think so? He asked as Hayachi blinked before looking at his effort. It's not bad, she hated to think so, it'd be harder to tease him over it. It's alright, Nagatoro said with crossed arms and an uninterested look. She's being coy. Sakura said teasingly as the girl blushed before her hackles raised. HM. It's good work, Naachi. A bit more solid than Naruto's in looks. Naoto looked at his friend's work. It's weird, but I feel like it's a different kind of style. So, I was right, Gaimo-chan said as Naruto raised a brow. Yours looks like old-style drawings. You're more likely to get used to calligraphy and old-world styles than normal ones. Naruto and Naoto blinked in unison. That might be your true style. Naoto realized with awe. Maybe that's why your art is always so flowy. It's like calligraphy strokes. Really? Naruto blinked at his work. I guess I just followed Ero-sennin's stuff so much, he realized with a grin. Well, maybe I can change it up. Though, I don't know the basics. I could probably teach you, Sakura said with a finger on her chin. I've dabbled in calligraphy a lot and it's kind of fun. I do more writing, though. She's a real poet, Maki said with a smirk as Sakura blushed a bit. Sakura's entered so many little writing contests for pocket change when we do stuff. I never considered it. I didn't like showing them, the girl pouted. Only Gaimo-chan would really get it. Yoshi gasped while Nagatoro's eyebrow ticked. What's that supposed to mean? The shortest asked suspiciously. You trying to say I'm not cultured, huh? Sakura considered it as Nagatoro hissed. I think you're different from calligraphy. Oi. Oh okay, she just means your specialties lie elsewhere. Naoto tried to assuage her only to flinch as her dark gaze turned on him. Yeah. Nagatoro huffed, arms crossed. I don't need that hard to look at stuff, anyway. Maki snickered. Well, it can be a bit tough to read. You know how to write in that style? Naoto asked and she nodded. Yep. Sarajiji was the one who taught me and my old man. He says that it'll be for my good fortune in the future. Whoa, I bet it's gonna be helpful, Naruto said with a grin. He's pretty dependable. Yep. Maki grinned. Now, with you, we know what to do. What about Naachi? Naoto looked at his work. Why you guys said doing living art might work, maybe you were right. Well, we'll know when we finish these up later, Naruto said. Lunch is over. The bell rang and the group nodded. Alright, I'll try more later, Naoto said. Come the end of classes, Naruto and Naoto went to work with opening up space by the windows and opening them up, wide and clear. The sounds of students in the yard reached their ears and they grinned. Alright, Maki-chan and the others are supposed to be here soon, Naruto said as Naoto blinked. I hope nothing weird like the first 2 times happens again, he said with a blush as Naruto rubbed the back of his head with a nervous chuckle, blushing a bit himself. We'll try to keep things normal. Besides, I'll be learning a new way of doing things. Nothing crazy should hit us while we're focused. True, Naoto smiled. I guess doing this a new way won't be so dash. The door slammed open, Nagatoro and Maki there with grins. Oh no. Sup, gross brothers, don't you dare. The small one said before pointing at Naruto, whose eyes went half-lidded. Sup, you little gremlin. Why you little dash. You've got that covered, Naruto said with a smirk as her eyes widened like he'd slapped her. Tough. Maki snickered. Sakura just needs to grab some stuff from her place, so her boy toy's taking her there and back. Give her 30 minutes, 45 if she needs to prove to him that this isn't some weird way to break up. God, I don't want someone to worry about that, Naruto said with a wince. If nothing else, I'd like to meet him. Make him realize there is nothing going on between me and his girl. He'd probably love that, Maki said before pulling out her phone. And sent. Thanks. She'd probably feel a lot better that old man Niji is cool with you. Naruto's smile froze. Wait, the F did she just say? No T, there was no way, right? And Niji? He asked in shock, and Maki blinked at his disbelief. Hold on, Maki-chan, can you tell me his last name? Oh. You know him? He's saved my life before if he's the right person, Naruto said seriously, shocking the group dumb. Is his name spelled Niji? Why yeah. What's his last name? Hyuga. Oh, hell, Naruto sat back on the windowsill and laughed. Holy CRP, he's around. Go back, what's this about your life? Naoto said in horror as Naruto grinned. We got involved with some stuff, one time. It was a seriously bad set of days. He'll probably have a better way of saying it, I was out of it when it went down. Huh. Nagatoro blinked at Naruto's look of sadness. You make it sound like he died. Because he did, he wanted to say, to make them understand just how important Niji was to him but couldn't. I helped him and we were cool ever since. Way back when, though, we might have both died. So, trust me when I say I trust him, Niji's awesome. The door to the room opened and allowed for Sakura to enter with a grin as her boyfriend, Niji Hyuga, followed after her. And the moment their eyes met, he froze, his own widening. He hadn't changed much since they'd last knew each other. Especially since both of them were 17 again. The same fair skin, long dark brown hair, and lavender pupilless eyes. Wearing their school's uniform, Naruto blinked the same time he did. How the hell did we miss each other? They asked in unison in total disbelief. Oh, Naruto swallowed nervously as Naruto stood up and this Niji chuckled before smirking. Let's talk outside. The two former shinobi leaned on the railing of the school roof, looking out at the lowering sun as they smiled. Totally aware of the group of 4 girls, and one Naruto, listening in from the roof door. I guess I should have known when Sarajiji was here but I didn't think we'd meet again, Naruto said softly as their hair was pushed back by a gentle wind. I mean, God, I didn't think this chance would ever come again. I know, Niji said as he pat his friend on the back. All things considered, I guess you solved things with him. Heh, we did, Naruto said with a smile. We went back to the friends we were in the end, despite how things ended, he added with a chuckle. So, what's life been like for you? Well, all things considered, I simply realized this wasn't the chance to just and simply stumble about, Niji said as he held up a closed fist. My life before was ruled by fate, molded by it and a death I didn't understand the truth behind. I got the second chance I needed to make better choices and get back the family I shouldn't have forgotten, he said with a chuckle. Now, I've got more than just myself. I've got my father, an older sibling, and a girlfriend, surprisingly enough. No freaking way. Yes, way, he smirked. Her name is Hibana and she's 5 years my senior. That's crazy, it, I didn't get siblings. Humph, it came with its ups and downs, Niji said with a smirk as Naruto snickered. I can't hear them, Maki said as she tried to read lips. it, Gramps hasn't started me on this, yet. On what? Naruto asked before grunting as Nagatoro laid her chin on her hands, on his head. See, can you not? Hee so, what? You know how to read lips now? Hayachi asked with a smirk as Maki chuckled nervously. A little, but I didn't get trained in it, yet was what she wanted to add, but that'd be too much. Still, this looks like the scene from an old action flick where they went through it all already. You don't think Naruto got into gang stuff, do you? Naoto's mouth set into a frown at the thought. No, I don't think so, and he said as much. I doubt Naruto would put himself into that situation unless he was helping someone. He's that kind of person. Niji's also rather calm-headed, Sakura said with a small frown. They might have been dragged into it when they were younger. It's rather alarming. So, they're old buds from then? Yoshi asked. But, then, why did they separate? They didn't know. That question was rather important, too. So, you're also an MMA fighter, huh? Naruto asked with a smirk as Niji chuckled. Well, I picked up a lot of palm strike techniques. Wanna see how we fare against each other? They stood to their full height, shedding their dress shirts to leave a pair of black muscle shirts in their places. The gang by the door gaped as Niji tied up his hair while Naruto brought a cloth out of his back pocket, tying it around his forehead. First blow, he suggested. Of course, Niji accepted as they kicked off their shoes. I honestly don't like those shoes. Oh, thank God, I wasn't the only one. They moved to the middle of the roof before taking a stance. Naruto was in a loose, wide, boxing stance with loose hands while Niji assumed the notable juken, the gentle fist. You've given that a big name, haven't ya? Naruto asked with a chuckle as Niji hummed. Yes, as of now, my father's name is notable along with my sister's. It's become recognized in a large bit of Indonesia. Good. They lunged forward before slamming their forearms together into a powerful clack that the group by the door jumped at. Niji grabbed with his offending hand before aiming a palm strike at Naruto's side. The blonde brought up his knee, blocking it, before reversing his friend's grip and pushing down with his blocking leg. Niji was thrown overhead before grinning as he recovered. Naruto was already on him, the Hyuga blocking his haymaker without looking with a raised palm. You've gotten more technical. Hee. The Hyuga then stepped back and slammed his shoulder and the left side of his back into the Uzumakis' body. The attack wasn't clean, the boy had jumped back, leaving him to give chase. Elbows smacked together before palms slapped past. Naruto's smirked before sending a punch towards Niji's head. Niji smiled back, grappling, and then throwing him to the floor. The blonde bounced once before he kicked up, slamming his feet into Niji's crossed forearms, sending him back off his feet. The Uzumaki kicked up before he blocked a palm strike without looking. Not bad. Watching the two fight was kind of ridiculous the more it went on. Naoto's mouth dropped along with the girl's save for Sakura's as the girlfriend of Niji blinked. He can keep up with Niji-kun. She balked at a rather ridiculous set of palm strike to knee strike combinations. Impossible. I've been waiting for an opponent who could test me. Niji declared as several sharp kicks were bat aside by a grinning Naruto. I've been hoping. Craving. Then the long-haired boy slammed his feet, repeatedly, into Naruto's block before flipping off him, kicking him back into a flip that he recovered from. Anything to make my hobbies worth it. He declared before they were at it again. Sakura's mouth dropped in disbelief as her boyfriend was immediately brought to the floor with a dropkick to his block. Then Naruto stomped down on where his head had been and she screamed. Naruto, I swear to God you put a single dent in Niji's face and I'll kill you. She growled at the blonde who jumped before nervously grinning and hiding behind the now sitting up Niji. Alright, I think we're done for now, the Uzumaki said with a shaky grin as Niji smirked. Apologies, Sakura-chan, this was just some friendly sparring, he said before grinning shakily at the dark aura coming off of Sakura's body. Yes, I'd forgotten. Women are terrifying. Yeah, Naruto said with a smile. Still, we may have pushed it, he said as he looked out at the roof. Cracked tiles, a few dents, several bits of loose flooring, and so on. They'd need to get out of here before someone found out. Oi, the hell was all that? Maki asked him as she crouched down with her knees together, smoothing out her skirt over them. Like, bruh. Well, I was getting some catharsis, I guess, Naruto said with a hand rubbing the back of his head, arms full of bruises as Neji chuckled a bit, Sakura standing over him with her hands on her peach and a pout he'd have to deal with. He moved his bangs out of his face, bruised elbows on display. We did overdo it, he said, correcting himself at Sakura's darkening aura. Apologies. We'll do this on an actual set of mats next time. I'm not sure if I should feel better about that fact, Sakura said with a sigh. Goodness, I thought this might happen but out of anger, not happiness. Well, I have no words to offer you, apologies. Ha, come on, Naruto's supposed to be learning calligraphy, not which bruises you two can give to each other, Sakura said as she helped him to his feet as Maki snickered. Need me to pick you up, this time? She asked Naruto, who snorted as he stood up along with her. Good boy, you've got strong bones. You're DMN right, I do, he responded, and she grinned. Now, got all that extra energy out of the way? Yup, ready to take it slow now. Naruto said with a grin. So, they approached Nagatoro, Naoto, and Yoshi by the door, ready to go down. As they did, Naoto's eyes narrowed at Naruto's back before he wore a grimace and looked at the handrails. Nagatoro raised a brow at him. As Naruto was set up doing calligraphy with Neji, Sakura, and Maki, Naoto frowned as he looked at his easel. I can't seem to draw. What's wrong with me? Penny for your thoughts, senpai. Nagatoro asked him, and he rubbed the back of his head, getting a frown out of the girl. Humph, you're sulking. What? No, I'm not. Nagatoro sneered at him and he flinched. Talkin' like you're super tough. Last I checked, that's the Disaster Brothers over there. She hit a nail, somewhere, on the head as she saw his mood fall. Lying super gross, you know that, right? Naoto frowned as he looked back at Naruto, learning from Maki, Sakura, and Neji. He's more like him than I am, he admitted. They were friends before we were, likely even closer, too. Nagatoro frowned. I mean, I am not a fighter, we've tried, all I could do is learn a bit from Naruto on how to defend myself, but that's it. I can't elicit a response from him as Neji-san does, his fist clenched. I'm not like him, no matter how much I try. You really must not like him, she said flatly, to his face, as Naoto gaped at her. Aren't you thinking about this too much? So what if you're not like him? That's not how friendship works, Nagatoro said seriously, looking at him in his seat. I've only known the Baka urchin for 3 days and I could see that. What does it say about you and your year-long friendship? She whispered once more as he flinched. Naoto grimaced as he gripped his pants. So what do I do? Idiot. She hissed and he flinched once more. You don't need to do anything, that's it. I don't get it, he said, adjusting his glasses before he blinked as she pointed dramatically at him. Exactly. Naoto's face contorted into confusion. I can't, his brain was killing itself trying to follow her logic. Stop putting so much thought into it, that's all there is. There's no path to stuff like this. You gotta just do what you do, which is being gross, his eyebrow ticked and she snickered. See, you just gotta focus on being the grossest you can be. I'm not even sure we're talking about the same thing. Shush. The point begins with you, you can't just ignore a challenge the moment it comes to you, that's only what worms do. And worms aren't gross? He asked like he looking at a paradox. I wish you'd speak in more normal terms. This is normal. That says a lot. Excuse me? She said, causing Naoto to freeze and whimper in horror. After all that help I tried to give you. I am thankful, I am. He said. It's just I don't know, I've never been in this situation before. Her aura fell away and Nagatoro shrugged. That's life. Oh okay, that makes more sense. Humph. Now, draw something. I need to be entertained and your funk hasn't been helping. Naruto raised a brow at that before looking back at his easel. Even if you say that, what can I? His eyes moved to behind them where the others were surrounding Naruto. He smiled and was as discreet as possible, Nagatoro blinking as she watched him work with slowly widening eyes. An hour later, she was left stunned as the calligraphy team took a break. Phew, okay, whatcha up to, Naosha? Naruto asked as he leaned back on his hands. He snickered at the drawing and Naoto's embarrassed adjustment of his glasses. Because, of course, the drawing of the four doing calligraphy was probably some of the most passionate things they'd seen out of him. Maki grinned as she observed the drawing from every angle before giving her seal of approval. Nice. She declared with a thumbs up. Thanks. Well, I know my hair's normal again, Niji said as he adjusted his tail-end bun. Ignoring that, it is a rather amazing piece, Naoto-san. Thanks, Niji-san, Naoto said. I guess they were right about me drawing realistic figures. It shows, Niji said kindly. Actually my sister would probably love a self-portrait. Do you do those? Naruto choked the same time Nagatoro did while Sakura snickered and Naruto chuckled along with Maki. I mean, I couldn't take money from you to do this. I'd be fine with doing this without payment. We'll work it out, Niji said with a smile. Now, the right day will be the problem. You both are usually here every evening, right? He asked Naruto and Naoto. Yeah, we're typically here, Naruto said. We're the art club, after all. Noted. The thing is, I usually work after school so I don't have a club. In that time, I simply spent time with Sakura and tutoring her. He's an amazing tutor, Naruto-kun. Think about it. Good grades. Sakura announced with a grin. Naruto chuckled nervously. I get BS. Wait, you're not an idiot me. Yoshi realized in horror as Niji snorted. He better get decent grades, I'd have been ashamed, he said as Naruto began to nervously sweat hard. Well, if I need help, I typically ask Naosha. Especially since he's the highest among the second years, Naoto blushed a bit. That's not important, besides, I bet Niji-san isn't actually, Naoto frowned. I don't think I've seen you on the test boards. Oh, there must have been a mistake, Niji said with a chuckle. I'm not a second year. I'm a third-year student. Oh, that makes sense, Naruto said as Naoto blinked before rubbing the back of his head. Well, things you'll work out. Welcome to our little team. Niji smirked. The week following their reintroduction, Naruto grinned on a Saturday afternoon, wearing a pair of MMA mitts, a pair of orange boxer shorts with black trim, and tape around his ankles and heels. It's time, he said as he slapped his fist into his palm. I'm ready to mess up a face. That's not odd or anything, Maki said with a snicker. Wearing a pair of brown boots, dark blue skinny jeans, and an orange tank top, the Carrot Top blushed a bit at his shirtless state before shaking her head. You alright? Yeah, it's just been a while since I've been to a big event like this, she said with a chuckle. Man, about to go pro, huh? And Niji's already? Man, you guys must be fighting junkies to go up so fast. Hey, it's not like we do it to be mean. Fighting's just fun, Naruto replied before she chuckled. Come on, let's put some actual wraps on your hands before you go out there, she said, leaving him to blink and look at his gloves. Oh, sorry, he said with a cheeky grin as she snickered before helping him take off his gloves. I guess meeting back up with some old faces made me really excited. So, you've told me, Maki said with a snort as she unfurled some athletic tape. Starting from his wrists up to his palms, Gaimo-chan hummed. So, he really saved your life?" she asked, and he nodded. "What happened?" "It was a fight to decide things," Naruto said vaguely. "We had to stop a guy and he took a real big hit for me." "That's something," Maki noted as she finished off the tape on his palm before patting it. "Alright, you've got 10 minutes before your match. The others have got their sodas, food, and snacks. Those seats you got, DMN, man, those were good seats. Hehe, I think it's because of the type of match this is. Rank up match and all that. Well, it can be big." "Humph," Maki held his hand with interest. "Geez, there are calluses and there's you," she teased as she prodded his palm. Naruto grinned with a chuckle. "All I can say is I don't let up on my training," he said with a smile. Then the two froze as they looked at one another, faces reddening. Maki's hands had wrapped around the taller bright-haired teen's hand, the grip rather intmt. "Oh, CRP, sorry," she said, letting go immediately as both despised the loss of warmth. "No, DMN it, stop." Maki cursed herself, but it didn't stop her embarrassment from rising as she looked away from the similarly blushing Naruto. "Nah, it's cool," Naruto said as he found the wall to the side interesting. "No, wait, why am I freaking out about this? Surely, this was totally platonic. And, sure, he liked the warmth in his hands and, maybe, he found her hands interesting from the type of calluses she had. And maybe he found the idea of her smaller hands and his bigger ones like the perfect fit." He slapped himself before coughing. "Sorry." "Nah, man, it's not your fault," Maki admitted. "Let's just focus on battle plans, yeah? It's not like you're going to go in there without one. Please, let's just forget what happened." "Yeah, sure," Naruto said with a nod. Naruto trembled as he always did with these events that Naruto was in. Dressed in a brown shirt, black cargo shorts, and a pair of white sneakers, he adjusted glasses that weren't there, forgetting at the moment that he was wearing contacts. His hands found his drink while his small carton of candy lay untouched. It had been the norm needed ever since the first time he'd been here, all the shifting bodies, the occasional fighting audience, and general discomfort making the decision clear if he wanted to support his friend. "Heh, didn't know you enjoyed mosh pits, senpai," came a voice from his side, leaving Naoto to adjust invisible glasses. Kekekek. He turned to see Nagatoro, grinning mischievously, in some black shoes, spats, a dark blue hoodie that came down to her thighs, and a cap. I don't," he rebuked simply. "If this is what it takes to support Naruto, I'll handle it." "Humph," she made an impressed sound as she flopped into the seat next to him, some soda and a bunch of nachos in her grasp. "I guess even senpai can have a cool side, Naoto blushed before grunting. "Why, you said it, didn't you?" She blinked. "I can only be myself, so this is me being me, I guess," he admitted with a red face. Nagatoro's eyes widened and face reddened a bit, herself. "Humph, well, of course. I'm full of nothing but good ideas." Naoto chuckled. "Maybe," he said with a smile before the seats at his side were taken. "Niji-san, Sakura-san," he nodded to both. The Hyuga had worn a simple long-sleeved purple top and dark brown pants, sandals on his feet, while his girlfriend grinned in a bare-shouldered lavender top, a black skirt, socks, and tennis shoes. "We just had to get a few things," Niji said as he held a bag of popcorn, 2 packs of M&Ms, and a large vitamin water bottle. "Sneaking this in wasn't as simple as I thought." "How'd you do it?" "Hehe," Sakura snickered. "Niji-kun snuck in through the rafters after going to the bathrooms." Nagatoro and Naoto looked completely and utterly confused by the explanation as the not delinquent-looking student shrugged. "I'm rather limber," he said as if it was a good explanation. "Right," Nagatoro said before a large bag of foodstuffs settled down next to her. "Oh, wait, Yoshi." "Yup." The most comedic girl of the Gyru gals grinned behind her item bag. Wearing a thin, baggy, pink shirt, a pair of black jean shorts, and white slip-on loafers. The second blonde of the Gyru gals grinned as she drank from an XL cup of water. "I'm ready for carnage," she declared as Niji chuckled. "Is she honestly going to eat all of that by the end of the fight?" he asked, and Sakura smirked. Yes, his face went blank and she giggled as they sat down. "What? She's got a rather jealousy-inducing metabolism like Naruto-kun," the not-single girl said. "It's scary and yet so inspiring while being downright unfair." "That's a lot," Niji said with a smirk as he observed the girl eating a bag of popcorn, bright white teeth chomping through them. "She must have the dental hygiene of a god." The others snickered. "Is everyone here ready for one of the biggest fights of the night?" Came an announcer's call as two entrances became engulfed in light, a pair of young men at them with their coaches behind them. "In the blue corner, we have the Blazing Core. The young man who's taken more blows than any other in his bracket and yet kept on going. Ken Akamasa." The crowd went wild as Nagatoro blinked at the bald, jacked boy coming in from the blue corner. "Who's this guy?" she asked Naoto, who nodded. "Ken Akamasa has been making a name for his ability to make fights last longer than 5 rounds, he explained with a frown. "His counters aren't special but they're never sloppy. They're scarily precise, actually." I'd heard of him," Niji said calmly, smiling even. "He'll be a good fight for Naruto to have some fun with." That sounded like more than support, Sakura said before remembering her boyfriend's, and newest friend's, tumble from a week ago. Oh, right. Still. Are you that sure Naruto will win?" "Yes," he said easily, immediately, and calmly. "Naoto-kun, Naruto's been ascending in the brackets. How often does he get into fights?" "Well, he's been managing this and school so once a month or two." "Is that a lot?" Yoshi asked and Niji smiled. "It's not, most amateurs fight for over 10 matches, and a few tournaments, to get here. They should also be 18, like myself," he explained. "So, Naruto's matches haven't been consistent but he's won all of them, I'm assuming, with 0 knockdowns." "Why yeah," Naoto said before realizing what he meant. I guess I was just really worried. Naruto's never met another stamina monster like himself." "That's a term," Nagatoro said with a vicious grin as the red corner lit up. "And, in the red corner, we have the rising titan of Kazuhaya High School, the Orange Oni. Naruto Uzumaki." Niji laughed as he clapped along with Sakura. "I see what they mean," he said as Naruto came out. Gaimo-chan was right behind him, carrying a bucket for him full of rest care. So, she's gonna wipe him down between rounds, huh?" Nagatoro asked with a widening smirk that Naoto blushed at the wording but shivered at the sight of. Ammo. Maki grinned at the feeling in her bones, this whole event bringing back a good amount of nostalgia for her. This brings me back to when I'd follow Gramps here," she said as Naruto raised a brow. "You don't come here anymore? Even when you've got one of the best gyms in Japan right now?" he asked and she shrugged. "Ever since going to high school, it's not easy. Coming to this event of yours just worked out. Hell, my fam's gym has another event at the end of the month but I can't make it." "How come?" "For one, I don't have a ride. My dad's going to be on the bus there, it's 20 miles away, and I don't want to be on a bus with all those guys. They're cool but that much sweaty gear in a bus changes you." Naruto snickered and she smirked before slapping him on the back. "Get in there, baka urchin. You wanna go pro next year, yeah?" Maki said as they bumped fists. "Of course, that's the plan," Naruto said with a nod before going into the fenced-off arena. "And I could give you a ride on my bike if you want. I figured you'd want to see your gym's members fight." Maki's eyes widened. "Dude, I get it but that's way too far out of the way." Not really," Naruto said as he saw the other teen in the ring. "Geez, he's a teenager." He wondered as Maki blinked at the other boy. Is that even Japanese? She gaped at the height on that boy. Like, DMN, he's gotta have some mixed BLD in him. Seems so. So, any last-minute plans? He's a stamina junkie like you and I've seen his vids. He's not that strong but he's precise. He'll throw mostly counters and doesn't have that long of a range, she said professionally, and Naruto nodded with his fist tapping one another. If that's the case, he's also not fast, then all you need to do is break down his strategy. He's got no grappling and his defense isn't all that great besides taking hits. Bring him into a few SBMSN holds and he's yours. Got it, coach, Naruto said with a smirk as Maki snickered. Alright, you two. Came the referee in the middle of the ring. You know the rules. This is the rank-up match between Naruto Uzumaki and Ken Akamasa. The one who wins this match will qualify for a higher league the following year. Both fighters come in and tap fists. They did, Naruto raising a brow at the guy's look of determination. I'm not gonna lose. I'm not gonna either, Naruto responded with a nod as they moved apart. Good. The ref looked at him and the blonde nodded. Good. He looked at Ken who nodded. All right. Fight. The two boys put up their dukes before coming in close. Then Naruto's eyes gleamed as he arrived in Ken's guard before the bigger boy even knew what was happening. What dash? The blow to his chin sent his head upward, almost stumbling back almost. A foot on his own kept him steady, much to his horror. Naruto slammed his fist into the boy's gut, getting a grunt out of him before a wet cough as he swung out a hook at his kidney. Oof. His foot was released as he stumbled back. It was like everything hit him in slow motion, blue eyes shifted closer and low. An uppercut to his chin sent him off his feet and flat on his back. Back off. Back off. The referee said as Naruto stepped back. The crowd cheered. DMN, Iepo. Nagatoro said in awe and shock as Naruto chuckled. Naruto and I have watched the entire series up to this point, he's taken a lot of the lessons in the anime and manga to heart, he said as she snickered. So, he has God and anime on his side. Naruto flinched laughing at the sheer audacity of that meme. How can you say that? She laughed along with Yoshi. Because it's true. Niji looked confused while Sakura smirked. Don't worry, Han, it's an internet thing, she said kindly. I never was good at that, Niji relented with a shrug before smiling. Still, it's as I said, Naruto's not going to be challenged by a man like Ken. You were right, she said. Still, the match isn't over yet. For how long is the question? Nice. Maki told him as Naruto grinned, pumped. I didn't expect you to rush him like that, though. You were right about grapples, but look at him, Naruto said as she chuckled nervously. I don't think I could grapple him like this, so I hit him faster than he could react. Not wrong. Naruto's blow had been masterful in how he handled Ken, it was almost hard to believe he wasn't a pro as is. Maki was sure that he had a future here, in the ring. I can give you a ride on my bike if you want. She considered his words from earlier. Hey Naru, he turned to her. You were serious about what you said earlier? Yeah, completely, Naruto said easily, quickly, and without a doubt. We'll talk about it after this. Sure. Alright. He's up. The referee said as Ken grimaced, guard up. Fight. Naruto's eyes narrowed as he took steady ground towards his opponent, Ken's eyes narrowed as he did the same. Once within his hit range, he swung out once and was viciously countered by a kick to his thigh, but he held strong for the few seconds it took Naruto to grab his outstretched arm. Then the shorter boy slammed his knee into his hastily raised arm over his chin and Ken was knocked back onto the floor, holding his mouth. Naruto stepped back as the ref came forward, the man checking up on the downed boy. Nimble as ever, huh? Maki said with a chuckle. Though, I only really saw that once with Niji. I know, I don't really do this often, Naruto said with more energy than Maki expected. But ever since I met Neji again, I feel like giving my all, he added with a big grin that she raised a brow at. You've not been going all out before? Well I mean, he looked flustered. The way I see it is that, with Neji and your Gramps around, along with a ton of other potential people, I feel like I won't get bored with this. Maki tilted her head at Naruto as he rubbed the back of his head. I get it, she said with crossed arms and a nod. I guess it was obvious before, but you're really a fighter. I thought you were a guy who was all Buddha about life. I just like fighting, I guess. It's a part of me even if I do believe in a Buddha lifestyle. Yeah, I can see that, she said as they watched the blonde boy's opponent get up. He really can't take any more knockdowns. He'll lose badly if he does. Still, they're keeping this kind of PG, it's weird. I guess it's because they don't see us as potential pros, yet, Naruto said. I'm going to go in, Maki-chan. I'm ending this fight, he said as he walked out, confusing the slightly blushing Maki. Geez, dude, she was really pathetic right now. God, just go for it, what's the worst that can happen? A no. Big whoop, everyone gets rejected every now and then. That was normal, so, why did she feel so nervous about the idea? Maybe it was because hanging around Naruto was just nice. The guy was just full of energy, street smarts, wisdom, and a cool head. He was cool. Naruto was a fighter and that part resonated with the gym rat part of her being. She sighed before perking up at an announcement. It seems that the crowd isn't pleased. This is a match that will decide if they can go pro, right? Might as well let them get a taste. Her eyes widened at the announcer's words. All the rules of an official MMA match will be allowed. Go wild, ya brats. The gleam in Ken's eyes caused Naruto's mouth to set into a smile. I see you've been practicing for that, haven't you? He asked the bigger boy who held his guard. All right. Fight. The referee said, completely sticking by the wall of the arena in between the two students. I see, now it's going to be more dangerous, Neji said as Naruto frowned. Our real rules, he looked worried as Nagatoro raised a brow. It means that there's not going to be any stopping. MMA isn't like boxing, it's a to-the-ground sport. So, what, he can just pummel him if he's on the floor. Nagatoro choked while Naruto frowned with a nod, Yoshi freezing before she paled. That sounds dangerous. She said as Sakura sighed. It's a dangerous sport. It's not like boxing is any different, though, the most demure of the Jairu gals said. Judo's the safest of the three, Hayachi. I didn't ask about judo, Nagatoro said, confusing Naruto from how cold the words were. Humph. Then, how do they lose? Tapping out, not following the rules, unable to defend, knockout, there are several avenues to win a fight, Neji said. I typically knock out my opponents. I even have a streak of 4 wins, right now, he added with a smirk as Nagatoro snorted. Humph, well, I guess the Baka urchin should already know what he's getting into, right? Naruto should have had matches already where they practiced here, learning how to do all that is important. He saw the way that Ken opened up his guard, hands raised by his head as he crept forward. He's going to go for a SBMSN, with his bigger mass, it'd be hard to get out of for a normal person. So, what's your lead-in? The big teen answered that question moments later, rushing him with his bulky arms out a little wider. Naruto stepped into his guard and Ken closed his arms around. A crack to his chin sent his vision into a blurry screen before an arm wrapped itself around his bicep. Someone rotated on it before slamming their feet into his head. He dropped as Naruto landed, the blonde boy stretching as the referee crossed his arms. I don't think he's getting up, Naruto offered as the other boy's head lolled on the floor, the referee coming over and checking on him. 10 seconds. Later, he waved his arms. It's over. The blue corner participant is unconscious. Winner, Naruto Uzumaki. The crowds cheered. Yes. The group cheered as one, Nagatoro blinking as even Naoto jumped for joy with a grin on his face. She tilted her head at his cheers before grinning with a blush. Yup, being yourself was the right choice. Good freaking job. Maki said with energetic claps as Naruto was announced the winner. Nice work. She said with a grin and a thumbs up as he chuckled, throwing one back. Phew. Naruto chuckled as he came out of the showers in nothing but a towel before going to his locker and pulling out a change of clothes. Putting on his dark green boxers, he hummed as he began to put on some orange shorts when the door to the lockers opened up. Oh, hey guys, Naruto said as he saw Neji and Naoto enter, putting on his shorts. So, how'd you like the fight? It was incredible. Naoto said with a smile as he and Neji sat down next to their friendly blonde. I didn't think you could three-shot someone like that. It was a good display of possibilities, Neji said with a smirk as Naruto grinned smugly. I'm glad. With this, I just wait until next year. Hell, I could probably enter a few smaller tournaments to get some backup money for stuff. I've been making it with prize money, Neji said. With how my fights have gone, I'm pretty good financially, on my own. I've even got an apartment near the school. Really? Naoto said in surprise. What about your parents? I don't mean to be insensitive. Oh, no, my mother is, well, she's not around, Neji admitted easily, shocking the nerdy-looking boy. But my father doesn't mind if I leave or stay. I just wanted an easier ride to school and the stadium. Oh, okay. It's fine, Naoto-kun. Hee, Naruto grinned. Alright, let me finish getting ready, he said, putting on a white shirt. They left moments later, Naruto holding his dirty clothes in a red duffel bag as he walked out in his blue-strapped sandals. Welcome back to the world of the normies, Maki said with a wave as she and the girls were outside. Around them had been a few guys who balked at the males as the three boys' eyebrows lowered. They quickly found their departure, especially when Naruto's eyes went to theirs. I hope nothing is amiss, Neji asked as Sakura chuckled. No, they were just trying to hit on us, she said simply as Neji's eyebrow twitched as his head mechanically turned to the running males who froze. Your jealousy is also fun to see. Sakura declared with a big grin as he snorted. Well, as long as nothing happened, Naoto said, rubbing the back of his head as Nagatoro smirked. Oh. He flinched and turned away with a blush, but she didn't relent, circling him. Worried for me? You Naruto, Yoshi, and Maki snickered. He's so easy, it's scary, Maki said as Yoshi nodded. Beginner difficulty, the blonde said as Maki started cracking up. Why yeah. Totally. She cackled as she smirked before blinking as Naruto nodded, looking satisfied. Nothing, I can tell you guys were fine, he said with a shrug as she and Yoshi tilted their heads. Exclamation point. Maki blushed a bit, rubbing the back of her head. Well yeah, she said foolishly like a foolish fool. God, stop doing this to me, she groaned mentally. Seriously, was she going to go GAGA for this guy in a couple of weeks? It was them again, Naruto walking Maki home. Her eyebrow twitched as she blushed a bit in the fading sunlight. So, how'd you think I really did? Naruto asked her, breaking her out of her embarrassing reverie. You were kind of awesome beyond words, Maki admitted. You weren't touched at all and you put down another pro contender in 3 knockdowns. That's not something you just see every day, it made her curious about how he'd fare against her family's gym. I really should ask, huh? Oh, thanks, Naruto said with shocked eyes before he blushed and grinned. I'm glad I had you in my corner. Maki scratched her cheek. I'm curious, Naru, what gym do you work at? Oh, I don't work at a gym. I have one at home. No, like, boxing gym. I don't have one, Naruto said as Maki gaped. My mom, dad, and I train often. Fighting is a part of it. Still, how can you know all the regular stuff? She wasn't looking at a prodigy, was she? Oh, well, I just copy what I see on videos, anime, and TV. Maki's eyebrow twitched. You wanna rep the Gamma Gym? Huh? Well, with the way things are going, you don't have a sponsor. Why not have us sponsor you? She asked nervously. Not saying I'd want to force you, but I guess you were right. I do want to be there for my team, but we both know that's not easy, so. Alright, Naruto agreed with a big grin that set her heart on 5x speed. Still, do I need to do anything special? Nope. I've got this. She said with a big, shaky, smile that she barely controlled the enthusiasm behind. See, come on, I'll get home and handle this. He chuckled before they jogged to her house. Reaching the front of the Gamma home, the two teens nodded to one another. I'll go and handle the paperwork for the stuff. I doubt Gramps or the Rents would mind a soon-to-be pro. Maki said with an eager grin as Naruto chuckled. I'll look forward to it, Maki-chan, he said with a nod before heading off. See ya tomorrow. Naruto took off with a grin on his face and her heart in his hand. I don't think I'd make it out as a poet, Maki realized with a chuckle, face bright red as she closed the door. Anyone home? She called out in the house. I'm here. Came a man from the kitchen entrance as he walked out to smirk at her. How's life there, Maki? He said, minding the electronic cigarette he had in his mouth. He was a tall broad-shouldered man with tan caramel skin, dark gray eyes, and short spiky black hair that connected to his wicked sideburns and beard. Wearing a gray sweatshirt and a pair of dark blue sweatpants, he smirked at her. Sup, old man. Maki said with a chuckle as Asuma Sarutobi snorted. Mom home? Nah, she's still at the office, he said with a chuckle. Now, what's got you so excited? Oh, well, Maki blushed a bit before rubbing the back of her head. Well, you know how I told you about that friend I went to the match of, today, right? Yep. The betrayal is immeasurable. She snorted. Well, you'll be happy to know that he wants to join the gym. Maki declared as Asuma looked intrigued. Ah, you've been scouting, have you? He smirked before humming. Well, come on, we'll do the paperwork. Nice. This might be the opportunity, yeah. She'd be spending a lot more time with Naruto, Maki guessed. She was kind of excited about it, like a lot. Naruto blinked in his bed that night, pulling his phone off his nightstand to look at the message. Wait, hold on, when did I get added to this group? He blinked at the text message he'd received. One with an odd cat emoji and a scent he knew, worryingly, all too well. Yo, senpai, PSHH, get this app, link. What in the world is she doing now? He wondered as he typed back. Why? What's so good about it? It's got better emojis than this one. He sweat dropped. Are emojis that important to girls? His mother never worried about them, and he knew guys didn't on account of Naruto, himself, and Niji. Wait, hold on. How did you get my phone number? I asked Baka-urchin, and he gave it without hesitation. You've got a ninja in your midst and he's not worried at all, Megano. Glass is king. He choked as he sat up. What's that supposed to mean? Wait, no there's not, we exchanged last week. Get the new app. His eyebrow twitched and he groaned, looking at his phone before searching through the Mughal Play Store. Ugh, she's always like this, he rolled his eyes as he found it. Huh. Emoji Parade? That was a weird name for what looked like a chatting app. Downloading it took no time and, after going back to that small messenger he and Nagatoro were texting in, he hit the link and got the invite to the chat room, which currently boasted 6 people. She left me for last, didn't she? He realized as he entered the room, only for a customize screen to pop up. Well, if he was going to do like the others, which ones? He looked at the options for emoji avatars, noting just how many there were. GG's, that's a lot of emojis. He found one he liked, one with a wizard boy he liked from an old notable manga before he spiced it up by giving the kid big, thick, swirly glasses. Alright, I hope she doesn't just attack me out of nowhere, he said before entering the room. The first thing he was greeted by, literally, was a generic chibi ninja character whose outfit was orange, a large scroll across its back. What's up? He chuckled as he considered who that was. I guess that's Naruto. Naruto smiled as another ninja, one with a light purple outfit and shaded eyes, appeared. Good evening. The other ninja said with a polite bow, Naruto chuckling some more as he looked at it. Hi, Niji-san, I didn't expect you on here. Sakura-chan is very persuasive, someone might even go on to say she's amazingly devious in ways I can't imagine. Naruto blinked at that but nodded. I guess things can get weird with girlfriends. Would you even know? Naruto asked him. Huh? That is, bro. It's just, we've never, Naruto's eyebrows lowered for a bit in suspicion. Right, I guess that time in middle school was a bit much. I know, right? I knew it. He shouted, furiously typing. This isn't Naruto, is it? Welp, the gig's up. Maki-chan, how? This had been said by a small frog with the sun behind it for that person's profile picture. And Naruto? You guys switched avatars. Well, more like they wanted to see how long they could get away with it. I'm pretty sure you know that Niji isn't Niji. I say a lot about my girlfriend. Niji, most likely, said, his icon a large pink fox with a white mask over its face. But I'm not that corny. Love ya, hun. The purple ninja said as Naruto sweat dropped. As she did lay it on a bit thick, to be honest. Exactly. Anyone who wishes to hide their presence needs to be able to copy down to the mannerisms. Yerp. Naruto said. It was kind of fun until someone gave it away. Hey. Okay, I'm not good at this stealth and shadows thing. Maki whined as Naruto smiled a bit. Not everyone can be Naruto and, surprisingly, Niji-san, it seems. God, you guys are so bad at this. Came a familiar black cat emoji whining with a whining cat gif. This was gonna be perfect. And now you ruined it, gorilla woman. I'm changing your privileges. Sunny Gamu has restricted avatar privileges. The hell? But Nagatoro was not done. Sunny Gamu has received the title Obnoxious Froggy. Excuse me, B. You want a GO? Maki raged. Naruto chuckled some more at that. I'm surprised you all are so energetic. I mean, sure, it's Saturday but I felt like Naruto's match would have drained you. Ha. Please, I've stayed up watching more dramas than anyone will know. Nagatoro said with a grinning emoji before the avatars switched. There, you may all be yourselves as your queen commands. Didn't know her head was as big as her avatars. Naruto said without remorse as Naruto started laughing. But, hey, we're all here to make sure it doesn't get too big. DMN right. Maki, obviously. Perhaps Hayachi will learn better in the future. Excuse me. Yeah, oh great below 5-foot goddess. The emoji explosion from Nagatoro's end had Naruto chuckling. She seems more expressive in this app, he said. Totally, geez, I don't think I'll ever use that many emojis in my life. Naruto said with a sweat drop emoji. Niji, you have a girlfriend. Present Sakura pipped in. Is she also an emoji fiend? On most occasions. Niji considered while the group sent in thinking emojis in unison, Naruto included. Cute. And, yes, she does. Thankfully, hand signals are completely unnecessary despite how much she just texts me when I'm beside her. It's all about the couple's unity. Sakura said. Unity. Is that a thing couples have? Oh, definitely. Why, Naachi, sometimes, you just get your partner randomly and it's hilarious. He didn't know that. You'd think manga would make stories around that more often. Oh, they do. Maki said and he perked up. Yeah, I remember reading one once, I forget the name but it was pretty hilarious. Though it was more about one-way telepathy that becomes couple unity later on and I know it got axed. DMN it, I'm still mad about that. She sent a X emoji. Really? Naruto asked. Well, since we're on it, how about we trade manga recs? Me and Naosha love Dejima. Dude, that stuff's so wicked. It is, Naoto replied. It also ended early, Maki-san, but there's a sequel, apparently. Really? Was it mainstream? Yeah, for quite a bit. DMN, even the big ones can get axed. Maki typed in horror. I think my favorites, right now, would include Divineland. It ended a while back but it's fascinating. Niji texted. Divineland? It's a manga about a boy who got bullied but trained himself to grow confidence. To be fair, he doesn't get it from the offset but watching him grow, his training regimen, and the like is outright inspirational. Hehe, I bet. Naruto said with a grinning emoji. Well, the newest manga I'm on about is one with a Yankee girl bully and a meek worm of a boy who reminds me of Paisen. Nagatoro said and he sweat dropped before laughing as she choked at a unified text. Of course, you like that one. The hell? What's that supposed to mean? Your tastes aren't hard to figure out. Niji said. Fufu Hayachi is pretty linear. Sakura added with a smug emoji. The gremlin is really bad at this. Maki added. WOSH. Yoshi unironically. He Naruto with a run-on laughing emoji. God, you really are some kind of wannabe dom, aren't you? Naoto blushed and laughed at the same time as Nagatoro's emoji parade jumped several hundred notches. You urchin. How dare you? She squealed through text, somehow. I'd bet only a perverted BSTRD like you would be this way, huh? Well, she kinda put you on the back foot, Naoto admitted, amused. Exactly. Easy there, Naosha, you might raise her confidence too high. My confidence is fine, just like myself. Fine at that height. Naoto's mouth dropped as laughing emojis were spammed from Maki, Sakura, Yoshi, and Niji. Ha 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 ha. Maki texted without remorse. Got tem. Naoto covered his mouth as he laughed. She's gonna hate that. And so the future was written. Kurama Host has received the title of Dumbass Urchin. You're petty. Naruto said with a laughing emoji. Kurama Host's avatar has been changed. You deceitful little gremlin. Naruto squawked as his avatar was changed to that of a dopey face with badly drawn hair. I bet this is why you ain't in the art club. I'll kill you. Nagatoro roared as more laughing emojis hit the chat. Naoto smiled as they texted away into the night. Maki grinned as she texted while looking over Naruto's paperwork. Her dad came in moments later with a chair in some black pajamas, a pen tucked into the space between his head and ear while he chuckled at her rabid texting. Did you get anything done? Asuma asked and Maki grinned, showing him the papers filled to the brim with her friend's information. Alright, let me her. I figured but wasn't sure, she said with a raised brow at her pops who blinked before laughing. God, we really taught you too well. The man laughed before sitting down. Alright, yeah, I know this kid but mostly through my old man. Makes sense, she said as she sat up in her more conservative red pajamas, shorts in place of pants. So, it feels like Naruto knows a whole lot of people but hasn't seen M in a long time. I'd assume so. I mean, he's a boy who's been in Italy, Japan, America, and Germany. Her eyes widened as Asuma nodded. If he's gotten you as a friend, I bet he's just horribly charismatic. She blushed as he chuckled some more. Let's not say that, he's a friend, we've known each other for, 2 weeks, max. It's nothing like that. Honey, I didn't say a DMN thing, Asuma smirked as Maki blushed harder. Huh, never mind, it's fine, it's fine. Come now, you want to get him included soon, don't you? The following Sunday morning, Naruto stretched as he got up from his bed. We texted for way too long, it had been fun, though. Usually, it was just him and Naruto sending things across the messenger app on their laptops. Now they had a bigger group. My life got weirdly exciting, how insane and unlike him. He took a shower, wore casual green 3/4 pants and white shirt pair, before heading down into his home's kitchen. Naruto noted a small note with a hum on the counter. I'm going in earlier, hun, take care. I made you some breakfast before I left. He smiled at his mother's note before eating the food she'd left for him, the young man humming as he sat at his dinner table and ate without much of a thought. Maybe I'll try doing some at-home drawing, it'd be a change of pace from his school, but Naruto was sure he could find something to do. Usually, I'd expect Naruto to dash. His phone buzzed and he hummed with his spoon in his mouth, checking it. Oh, there he is, he said. 10 minutes later, Naruto walked next to the contacts wearing Naruto in some orange shorts, a gray muscle shirt, and some ninja sandals. The two went on a light jog, the likes of which Naruto could find a little enjoyment in, heading to the park. He controlled his breathing as best he could, knowing talking wasn't something he could do while doing this. When they reached the park, Naruto sat down on the cool grass while Naruto chuckled, the blonde stretching form encouraging him to do the same. 10 minutes later, Naruto nodded to the 10th push-up Naruto could do, grinning as his friend blushed before going for another. After the 15th, Naruto groaned against the nice, cool, grass before watching the blonde do his set of 100. Let it be known, Naruto didn't think people should like push-ups. Not one bit. After a series of sit-ups, something he enjoyed a lot more than the previous exercise, they did some more stretching before going on a 2-lap walk inside the park. How's it going? Naruto asked his friend, who smiled with a hum. Well, nothing I can think of. We're going to be third years, soon, Naruto-kun. I never really asked, but do you know what you want to do once out of high school? Naruto considered and Naruto nodded. I'm probably going to go into what my parents do, become an agent and stuff, he explained. Well, that, or professional MMA, you know. Yeah. Ah, there you two are, came a familiar voice, the two boys meeting up with Niji, the older boy wearing a pale purple long-sleeve top, brown shorts, and some black sneakers with his hair tied back. They integrated him before continuing on their walk. What have you two been talking about? Just wondering what Naruto will do after high school, Naruto said as Niji nodded. Honestly? I don't know, myself. I like drawing, but I don't think I could make it as a professional artist. Well, while that's rather mature of you, you could still try while doing something you'll consider productive, Niji suggested as Naruto hummed. Well, why not look at some of the things you like outside of art? Naruto asked as they did one lap already. You like math, don't you? I do, math is pretty simple to me, Naruto said with a smile. Maybe I'll become an accountant. I hear actuaries are paid pretty handsomely, Niji said as the other boy nodded. What about you, Niji-senpai? I'm going to pursue MMA professionally while becoming a chiropractor, the older boy said as Naruto nodded. That makes a lot of sense. It does, Naruto remembered Niji's fight with Naruto. Why your fighting style, it requires a lot of palm strikes and jabbing, right? Got it in one, Niji smirked. Turn something I practice into something I can enjoy and make a profit of. It's not wrong to say, if I can make it work, I'll make my own practice. Sounds amazing. Yep. Naruto chuckled as they finished their second lap. They then played a bit, climbing the monkey bars in the play place before flipping off it, in Naruto and Niji's cases, and rushing into the trees. As they did, Naruto slowly climbed one tree before reaching for a branch and hanging off of it. Whoa, this is rather high. He realized in horror as Naruto and Neji sat in the branches above him. Come on. The blonde grinned as he held his hand out to his friend. They just enjoyed themselves for an hour before leaving in the early morning sun and heading to a komini down the street. As they did, though, the three boys' eyebrows rose as, once they turned a corner, they found a familiar blonde girl there. Yoshi smiled happily as she walked a light brown dog with a happily wagging tail. Wearing a thin pink sweater with a badly drawn dog's face on it, a white skirt, and a pair of white and pink shoes with shin-length socks, she giggled as her pet looked around excitedly before rushing towards them. W8. Pochi. Yoshi ran after the furry dachshund who jumped someone chuckling as the dog gave him more than enough affection, the pigtailed girl blushing a bit as she looked to see Naruto-kun. She yelled before seeing the amused Neji and Naoto. The normally cheery girl blushed as her fellow blonde placed her panting dog down. Sup, Yoshi-chan, Naruto greeted as she rubbed the back of her head. Hi. She said with energy that she clearly wasn't feeling. And no, it's fine, we were just going to the komini, Naoto said as he looked at the dog with a shaky smile. A dachshund? Oh. Yoshi perked up before grinning in satisfaction. Yeah. His name is Pochi and he's the most amazing dog in the world. She squealed as she picked up her pet, the dog panting the entire way. Humph, Neji smiled. We didn't know you had a dog, he said as Yoshi nodded while Naruto tickled the dog's stomach, Pochi's tail hitting high-speed wagging. Cute, the blonde boy chuckled as Yoshi smiled brightly. I can't bring him to school so I don't really talk about him but I've got a ton of his pictures. She said, putting her pet down who waggled over to Naruto's feet, the boy picking him up in his arms and getting a face full of licking. Yoshi giggled. The four chatted for a bit, walking to the komini as a group. You've had him for that long? Naruto asked in awe as Pochi's head sat on his neck, the dog's tongue flicking out randomly at his cheek. Hee, ain't you friendly? He chuckled as the dog's tail kept wagging. Going into the store, Naruto returned Yoshi's dog to her much to her amusement as they got several vitamin drinks, the boys drinking theirs out front as Yoshi fed her pet some pieces of sliced turkey. They walked back to the park before chilling in it once more as the girl walked her dog. Naruto stretched against the grass before feeling a ring in his pocket. He pulled out his phone and smiled. Hey, Maki-chan. Sup, how's it going? Maki asked. In the park with Neji, Naoshi, and Yoshi. We were working out when we went to get drinks and met her there. Seriously? The one a block from my house? Yep. Be there in a bit. The call ended and he chuckled, Neji currently in a call in the woods while Naoto smiled as he rested against the grass. 10 minutes of resting later, the last 3 girls of the Gyru gals had arrived. Nagatoro huffed at the 4, Yoshi's dog currently being given attention by Naoto. Wearing the same clothes from the previous night, the shortest pouted a bit before stomping over. Sakura giggled in a white shirt, black jeans, and some brown sandals, quickly stalking after her boyfriend without hesitation as Maki threw Naruto a wave as he stopped doing some push-ups with Yoshi on his back. Sup? Naruto said as the blonde girl got off him, giggling at something on her phone as he got up. Maki, wearing a red muscle shirt, blue shorts, and a pair of white running shoes, grinned as they clapped hands. How's the morning gone so far? She asked. Honestly? Pretty great. Brought Naoshi out for some exercise, met up with Neji, and just chilled after working out together. Sounds like you'd be up for some walking. Well, if you're going to threaten me with a good time. They laughed as they walked towards the track while Naoto smiled at Pochi, feeding the pet some of the meat from the deli he procured from Yoshi. Then the normally skittish boy jumped as a finger trailed up his spine, the boy rolling away much to Hayachi and Pochi's amusement, the dog chasing after the boy. And Nagatoro, when did you get here? Naruto shrieked before catching Pochi. Easy, Pochi. She snickered as she stalked, the boy growing rigid as his head turned to the teasing Jiru. Spending time with your gross buds? She asked while adjusting her cap with shining eyes. And you worked out? Why, that seems impossible. Hey. He huffed as he held Pochi tenderly. We're not gross and, yes, Naruto brought me out when he passed by the house. He sounds like you, she said, and he pouted a bit. Alright, come on. Time for some workouts. B, but I already dash. Nope. WY dash. Nope. Niji and Sakura just chuckled as they watched it all happen. The differing pairs' ways of interacting but basically committing to the same result was downright hilarious. It's really like they don't get it, Niji-kun, Sakura said as he held her close. Ew, someone did work out, she noted but grinned pervertedly as he blushed. Why yes, well, a stutter. She was going to have some fun with this. The weeks following that day had been regular but uplifting. They went to school, met at the front, ate together at lunch, and met up occasionally in the art club room. With Maki's joining of not just the art club but also the swimming club, Naruto found her presence around like clockwork. It was during the upcoming break in March that found the group on a warm day in a park in their school clothes. Why'd it even come out? Naruto noted as he ate some vanilla ice cream, a bit solemn about a small creature on the ground who was currently being eaten by ants. It's dangerous up here. Because he's got important things to do, senpai, Nagatoro said with a shaved ice in her hands while Yoshi gorged herself on a pair of cold chocolate-covered bananas. Not everyone's as meek as you, she snickered as he rolled his eyes but considered the insect again. Besides, he can't just hide away in his hidey hole, there are things to be done up top. Well, you're not wrong. Yep. She grinned. Why, what if he has a lady friend to go and find for? Naruto choked as she grinned with red cheeks. And no one was saying anything like that. But you were thinking about it. Nope. Sitting in the tree above, Naruto and Maki shook their heads, tapping their blue popsicles together. They're hopeless, they said in unison with laughs. Naruto chuckled as he ate. But he's less of a spaz, so it's good, he added as Maki nodded. So, no ideas for the break? Maki asked the blonde. Well, my parents are finally gonna be home tomorrow, he grinned as she perked up. Right, that's true. Well, maybe I'll get to meet someone's parents considering you seem to know mine in and out, you impossible person. Hey, I didn't know your mom, so. She's still on her business trip, so you'll meet her dash. Her phone rang and Maki blinked as she pulled it out of her skirt pocket, biting onto her popsicle. ? She blinked several more times as he leaned over. She showed the text to him with a grin. Naruto saw it. Oh, her mom's coming home tomorrow, talk about convenience. Sitting in a different branch, Sakura shook her head. They made a whole new language, she said to Niji, the girl eating an ice cream sandwich in a cup. And they call them clueless? Sakura looked ready to laugh again. Niji chuckled with a frozen Knickers bar. Well, it's not like it's easy, he admitted with some red on his face as Sakura grinned widely. I wasn't that great at this either, Niji blushed as she giggled. No, you weren't, but you were a sight better than these two. Didn't you literally make a poster board that led me to dating you? You win some, you lose some. In that case, it was both fun and I got a boyfriend. He laughed at that. Monday morning, Naruto grinned as he waited outside his house, wearing a pair of blue pants, a black shirt, a sleeveless orange coat, and a pair of his blue ninja sandals. He looked down the street where a car was coming up to the front of the house. There they are, the blonde grinned as the car came to a stop by him, the back door opening for a chuckling blonde man to exit with a smile. Long time no see, he said to his son. Longer blonde hair, more angular blue eyes, an angular chin, but only slightly darker tan skin. Minato Uzumaki was basically the older counterpart to his son, yet held enough distinguishing features that he was easily identifiable. Wearing a pair of black slacks, brown dress shoes, and a blue polo shirt, the older blonde chuckled as a familiar redhead popped out of the door and launched at Naruto before pulling her son into a fierce hug. "We're back, my baby." She grinned as Naruto barely caught her, looking embarrassed as he put his mother, Kushina Uzumaki, down. Peach-length crimson-red hair flashed about as she bounced a bit on her feet, fair skin, violet eyes, and bright grin getting one out of Naruto. Wearing a pair of black dress pants, a white dress shirt, and a pair of brown heels, Kushina hugged her son normally as Minato pulled their things out of the back of their Uber. "How's it been, Mom?" Naruto asked her as he hugged back. "Rough, I'm ready for this year off," she said as he chuckled. "Now, better question, what was this about a girl?" It's nothing like that, Maki-chan is just cool." "You think she's cool, and so I want to meet her." Kushina grinned as Naruto blushed. A couple weeks back, I joined her boxing gym," he explained. As Minato perked up when he brought over their luggage. "You did?" "Naruto, you're not doing yourself any favors," he sweat dropped as Kushina grinned like the shark she wasn't. Naruto did wonder if Kisame was here. Maki, Naoto, and Nagatoro blinked as they stood outside the Uzumaki home. "Didn't expect an invite so quickly after his rents got home," she said as her dad waved from his car. "Go home, Dad, I know you and Mom want to get drunk. Tell M to send me a text," Asuma said before driving off. Maki scoffed in her red shirt, black skinny jeans, and brown sandals, rubbing the back of her head with some red on her face. "Honestly, that old man." He, Nagatoro snickered from Naoto's other side, wearing a white shirt, black short shorts, and a pair of white and green tennis shoes. "Sounds like a fun time, Maki-chan." "Stuff it." Naoto scratched his chin, wearing a long-sleeve black top, brown slacks, and some white slip-on loafers. "I think we're taking two dash," he began to say only for the door to the Uzumaki home to open up and reveal Naruto. Wearing a white shirt, orange sweatpants, and an odd new pendant they'd never seen before, the blonde chuckled a bit. "I guess Yoshi, Sakura, and Niji couldn't make it?" he asked as he gestured inside for the three to enter. "Sakura and Niji are on a date," Naoto explained. "Yoshi's just resting with her parents," Nagatoro said as she looked around like a black blob. "So this is the home of an urchin, huh? I doubt you'll find the bodies," Naruto rolled his eyes as she gasped. "I knew it." Ignoring her, Maki said with a smirk as she saw a pair of people in the kitchen. "Those your friends?" "Yep." Kushina said as she turned to face the three with a grin, wearing a cream-color shirt and black pants, her hair gaining Nagatoro and Maki's interest. "It's so bright," Nagatoro blinked at it with some envy. "Where does someone get hair like that?" Maki was of a different mind, rubbing the back of her neck with nervous energy about her. "Wait, no, why am I tripping?" she thought as Kushina came over with a chuckle. Pleased to meet you, ma'am," Maki grinned nervously as the other vibrant-haired woman chuckled. "Name's Maki Gamu." "Nagatoro, no need for my first name," Nagatoro said with a smirk as Naoto huffed, the short girl snickering at him. "Look at you, being a gross creep." "Oi. I am not." The taller teen huffed. "Gee, good evening, Kushina Oba-chan," Naoto blushed as the redhead pat his shoulder with a grin. "Long time no see, Naosha-kun." Maki and Nagatoro snorted before snickering at his embarrassment only to find themselves the target of vibrant greetings while Naruto chuckled at the side. So you're his other friends, huh?" Kushina asked with a smirk while Nagatoro grinned slyly. "Barely. Your son's a piece of work," she said sagely before Maki rolled her eyes. "He is, but not like this one," Maki said as Kushina chuckled a bit before observing her particularly. "You hi." She threw in for the sake of shielding herself from awkward silences. Word to the wise. Didn't work. Hee hee, the woman grinned at the younger bright-haired female before patting her shoulder. Well, come on in, it's better than you all just standing by the door. Feel at home. Minato chuckled from the kitchen, wearing a blue sweater and pants, the man working the stove. Best to just listen, she's quite persuasive, he said as they looked at him. Then the girls looked between him and his son, Minato smirking as understanding dawned on them. You're a clone. They shouted as Naruto and Naoto snorted. I remember those days, the taller boy said as Naruto chuckled, the two of them going to the couch in the living room while the girls scrambled to grab seats. Hey. Nagatoro smirked as she leaned back in her place in the sole recliner, getting a huff out of him before she turned sly, patting the bit of space next to her. You're taking the arm seat. And no, I'm not. Yes, you are. Naoto slumped as he trudged over and sat down with a huff, the short girl snickering as she prodded him. They're not a thing, right? Kushina whispered to Naruto and Maki, the two looking amused. Not that they'll admit, Maki smirked as Naruto chuckled. For now. It's just a buncha teasin' going on. Amazingly, from both ends though favorin' Heihachi. I see, so Nagatoro didn't want Naoto to know her first name, did she? Hee hee, Kushina grinned. Alright, settle in, we're almost done making dinner, she said before heading back towards her husband. Your mom's pretty cool, Maki chuckled as Naruto grinned. The best. Come on, there's a seat with your name on it, he smirked as she made a faux surprise sound. Moi. They chuckled at that, jabbing his thumb towards the leather cushions in which Maki was happy enough to partake. Kushina smirked as she listened in. That boy is usually so dense, I was almost worried, she sighed in relief as Minato chuckled. Alright. Let's finish up so I can get the details. He smirked. Son, don't let your mother get in your way too much, he pleaded jokingly. Kushina grinned slyly. So, how do we do this? She whispered to her husband who rolled his eyes, the two setting up the table. I can break the ice with a story from our trip and then dash. Honey, please, he's just a boy, Minato chuckled. I somehow doubt anything's happened yet. Yet? Of course, the man smirked as she chuckled. Our boy over there, God help him, he's a bit dense. We've watched from above and within for however long we could, that child of ours would need every bad hint/clue/luck in the book to not end up in a relationship. He's clearly fascinated by Maki-kun. And I was the one you told to go easy, she pouted as he grinned. Still, you're right. Oh, I just don't want him to ignore another girl again. Minato's grin grew shaky. Yes, well he's better. He tried and she shrugged. I'll help how I can, now, she turned to the chatting teens. Dinner's ready. The four perked up before getting up and following Naruto's lead into the kitchen. Getting seated around a nice oval table, Heihachi raised a brow at the food brought to it in a piping hot pot. Wo, she blushed as her stomach growled. Humph, Nagatoro grumbled at Naoto's amused look and Maki snickering. Right, her friend smirked. What's it lookin' like, Uzumaki-san? It's going to be a bit basic, Kushina chuckled before removing the lid off the pot. But pot-made lasagna sounded nice. The smells had Maki's head snapping to the side in awe and hunger. Why sure? The bright-haired girl grinned viciously. I love it. Feed me. Kushina smirked as Naruto and Minato chuckled. Of course. Cutting into the steaming food, they were all served theirs on wooden plates before being handed some utensils from Naruto. I hope you guys are fine with forks, he offered. I'm fine, Naruto said. I'm multi-talented, sea urchin, Heihachi taunted. Ignore her, we're good, Maki rolled her eyes. Now, I'm seeing the greatest thing already, copious amounts of cheese, she drooled as Nagatoro swallowed in shock and awe, doing her own examination. It's a good amount, she said weakly. It's always a mix, Naruto said as Naoto smiled. Parm, Romano, and mozzarella, the taller boy said with a chuckle. Truly, a great cheese profile. Oh, it's nothin'. Kushina grinned. Make sure to blow on it, kids, but don't hold back. Naruto ate his pretty easily, startling Nagatoro who paled at the steam coming out of his shifting lips. Haven't had mom's cooking in forever, the blonde said with a pleased smile. Oh, yeah, mom, Maki-chan dash. Maki froze in horror at what was coming. That ignorant Dumba's dash. Can cook almost as good as you can, the whisker-cheeked boy said without thinking, Hayachi's smiling curling into a devil's grin as Maki went bright red. Kushina's grin froze on her face before she, sort of, glided on over to her son with an intense aura. You don't say. Yep. That idiot's trying to kill me. Maki hid her face from the woman with appealing hair, embarrassed to all hell. It was just a contest. We ate everyone's food. But yours was the best, Naruto said sagely as Naoto's sweat dropped. I'm starting to realize that Naruto's love life is very manga textbook, he thought in amusement as the fireworks began. That sounds amazing, Maki-chan, Kushina said with a smirk like a shark's as Maki shrunk. Why, you should come over and eat with us more often. All of you. It'd be nice to try out my son's favorite cook who isn't his mom. I don't know, Maki stuttered. It's not like I'd want to intrude dash. It wouldn't be so bad, Minato chuckled, drinking some water without remorse as Maki wheezed. Naruto hummed with a spoon in his mouth before shooting Maki a raised brow. If you want, he grinned. Yup, she was cooked. If it's alright, I guess, God would have to strike her now. She was pretty sure the devil had red hair. After they ate, Naruto's impressive appetite coming back around with a vengeance, the group sat in the living room, the TV playing some soothing lo-fi at Nagatoro's behest. I sat next to him like an idiot. Maki wanted to scream as Naruto chuckled right next to her at some news from his parents' job. Sorry, what was that? Oh, nothing, Minato smiled. Just telling Naruto about some work in America with a very eccentric man, he sweat dropped. Who's also very lax in his department. I bet he's just bored, Naruto snickered. You know this guy, too? Maki asked him. Yep, Dad's talking about my godfather. Nagatoro raised a brow while Naoto blushed horribly. You have a godfather? She asked with a hand rubbing her chin. I bet he's just as weird as you are. Nope, he's got me beat. Naoto coughed into a raised fist. Naruto's godfather is well-traveled, he mumbled as Nagatoro shot him a look. Just know, he is weirder than you can imagine. What? Is he a dumpster diver? Maki asked and Naruto sweat dropped. Not gonna bash him for it, I mean, have you seen some of the stuff some people throw away? Yes and, no, Jiraiya-sensei is a special kind of weird, Naruto said with a nervous chuckle as she blinked. It's kinda embarrassing. Kushina pouted as Minato rubbed the back of his head. He's a class act, for lack of a better word, they said in embarrassed unison. Okay, this Jiraiya guy seemed like a touchy subject. Sorry, Maki apologized. Didn't want to strike a nerve. Nerve? Naoto blinked as Naruto snickered. No, well, he's not a touchy subject but is a for lack of a better word, he's just that weird. Yep, Naruto agreed. Okay, now I'm just lost, Nagatoro said with crossed arms. Whatever, let's move on to something interesting, she grinned. Like how your boys are so dash. Ignore her, Naruto and Naoto said as Maki cackled. She likes getting in trouble. Excuse you? Nope. Hayachi's eyebrows twitched while Maki smirked. They're not wrong, she explained to the amused parents. All things considered, her words are more likely to backfire than one would expect, Maki muttered with slightly red cheeks as Nagatoro blushed. Kushina smiled like a saint. I can imagine you four are close, she said in a sing-song tone as the four blushed and scrambled. We're not. They all shouted as Minato tilted his head with a sweat dropped. Are you sure? He didn't ask, though, to give the kid some protection. So, Maki-kun, Nagatoro-kun, what do you guys do at school? Any clubs? Family businesses? Oh, well, I used to be in the swim club but I left due to the family business, Maki said as Minato nodded. I'm sure Neru told you but we have a boxing gym, the Gamma Gym. Run by my dad who you seem to know. Yep, Kushina smiled. It's an odd thing but, yes, we've met before a while back, it's been some time. Oh, right, he said to say, hi, too. Good to know, Minato chuckled. And you, Nagatoro-san? I'm in the swim club, the shortest in the room said with a hand rubbing the back of her head, Naoto's curious look getting a bit of a smirk out of her. Yep, I'm basically an Olympian. His face went blank for a moment before he cleared his throat. Well I am happy for you. Naoto said with a shaky grin as hers slowly melted in a frown that came with a pair of narrowed eyes. Well, yes. Why you're doing great. He said in a higher octave. Naruto rolled his eyes at the two. That sad boy, he shook his head as Maki snickered. Aren't you someone who willingly calls himself an idiot? She asked him with a smirk. Of course I am, I know myself, this ain't that. I'm not the one who invited a game of teasing in the near future. Well, I can't exactly argue with that. You see? Kushina's grin shot on all cylinders. They followed up their chatter with board games. The boys versus the girls. In a game of sorry that ended in ways it really shouldn't have. Maki awoke the next morning with a whine and a huff, sitting up out of her bed with a pout. Goddamn sorry, she grumbled before yawning and getting up with a stretch. Maki blushed a good bit. The loss from last night was rather devastating for her and Hayachi. Clearly not Kushina who'd blushed like a schoolgirl at her husband's suggestive gaze. They'd chosen to end things by that point before they were more mortified than ever before. Still, the loss condition had been as much. Her phone rang and she yelped before stumbling back onto her bed, face the brightest red it could be. God damn it. She snatched the thing off her nightstand and groaned. Who is it? Oh, whoa, bad time, Maki froze before turning bright red as she heard Naruto on the other end. It might have been too early. It's not. Huh. I mean, if you want to get some more rest, it's fine. That's not it, she shook her head, mumbling a bit as she hurried to her nightstand. It's just okay, yeah, I just woke up but it's not your fault. I mean it. I'm just angry about last night, Maki blushed again as he cleared his throat. Why yeah, I get ya, I mean, it's not lick. Naruto. Yes. We're doing it. Huh. He balked as she sighed, face-palming. Maki-chan, why? 'Cause I don't go back on my word, Maki admitted with a groan. And it was fair and square, I can't back out now. What am I? Some PP? She didn't take back things if they happened honestly. She'd lost, she had to live with it. I guess that's another one of your strong points, he chuckled over the line as she blushed. Still, I know, I'm not gonna really try to use it. I'm not that kind of guy, Maki-chan. I know, she smiled a bit at that, knowing that any normal boy would have probably used it for some kind of corny purpose. Still, what will you do? I don't know, she chuckled at that. All I know is, it's supposed to be used before the weekend's up and it's already Saturday. True. What could they do? Just then, the bright-haired girl blinked at a message she'd missed. 1 second. Putting him on speaker mode, she opened up her phone and checked her texts. Oh. Sakura invited us to the movies, says. There's a new one out, about a vampire. Just a vampire, right? Naruto asked in a deadpan tone as she blinked. Yeah. No ghosts or anything, yeah. Her eyes blinked again before they widened to impossible levels, right up there with her grin. Maki felt her soul brighten in fascination. Nope, she lied, reading the text in its entirety. I'm going to scare the hell out of you, Maki thought in excitement. So, you up for it? It's supposed to be at 2. I'm down. I can handle some dinky vampire. Maki's sides could have hit Jupiter. Walking down the street in some knee-high black boots, ripped blue jeans, and a long-sleeved white top with a black cross on it, Maki looked up and around as she scanned the street. Knowing those guys, Niji and Sakura come the latest, she blushed at knowing why. God, she's always so much dash. Sup, Maki-chan. Came a voice from her side, the girl blinking as she turned her head to see Naruto leaving his house. Coming towards her in a yellow shirt with a black flame on his chest, a pair of black shorts, an orange hoodie around his waist, and a pair of brown sandals, the boy wore an orange spiral pendant over his chest as he grinned. Her eyes flickered to that familiar braid in his hair before smiling as he got close. Sup, she responded in kind as they met up before continuing down the road. So, really? You can handle vampires? Maki asked with hidden intent as Naruto rubbed the back of his head. I mean, you are this big-time fighter and all that, lay it on thick. She was going to build him up for the fall of the century. Hehe, BLD suggers exist, they're just animals, Naruto chuckled unknowingly. I mean, I can beat up something alive, can't do that to a ghost, he muttered under his breath. She felt the rising euphoria. They chatted casually as they made it to a park that sat right outside the home intersection, as they'd begun calling it. And, standing there, was none other than 2 more of their friend group. Yoshi grinned as she explained something curious to the intrigued Naruto, the 2 chatting amicably. Huh, that's a bit surprising, Maki said as she and Naruto snuck around a corner. Usually Yash is kinda a timid bird. Yeah, we found out that one time we all met up at the park, Naruto told her, Maki looking surprised. Watching the 2 for a couple more seconds, they nodded before coming out of cover and walking over. The 2 noticed them almost immediately. Hey. Yoshi grinned as she threw the 2 a big wave. Naruto just smiled with a nod. Afternoon, he greeted. With the girl wearing a pair of brown heels, a black skirt, a pink sweater, and a white beanie, and the boy in a long-sleeved black top, brown jean shorts, white and brown tennis shoes, and no glasses, they seemed like any normal pair on the street. Which was a bit surprising for Maki because it was almost like the 2 were closer friends than any of them knew. How's it going, you 2? Maki greeted with an intrigued grin as Yoshi blushed a bit, looking sheepish. It wasn't anything serious, Naruto said with a smile as Yoshi nodded. I guess not everyone is an avid gamer, it wasn't in him to force this revelation. Yoshi seemed nice enough. Glad we can all get along, Naruto said with a grin. So, you guys looking forward to this thing? He asked as Yoshi nodded rapidly while Naruto smiled weakly. I am really not going to like this, he admitted as Maki snickered. What? Fear of vampires? She asked. I hate jump scares, he whined. It's gonna send my heart rate through the roof, again. What? You guys do this often? Maki asked Naruto as the 4 of them walked off towards the main street. God no, I'm not scared of a lot of things but horror movies still annoy the hell out of me, Naruto said as she chuckled. Let me guess, it's the characters. Maki-chan, you don't understand. She laughed at that while Yoshi hummed next to Naruto. They chattered, joked a bit, and even laughed at a joke Yoshi made before being blindsided by Hayachi. Oh, wait, not them, but Naruto. Ack. I see you trying to leave me behind. The shortest of the group declared with a dark expression, latched onto the tallest of the group's back and pulling on his cheeks. Oh ow. Warrant. Naruto said as he struggled with her before she let go and hopped off, pouting at him as he looked at her and rubbed his cheeks. Gee, good afternoon, Nagatoro-san. The short girl smirked. Wearing a pair of red sneakers, black shorts, and a zipped-up white jacket, Nagatoro shot the entire group a look before pulling down her eyelid at Naruto. The older teen longed out his tongue and she grumbled as Yoshi snickered. They continued on with their new addition doing most of the talking for a time. When they reached the main street, they went down a sidewalk and looked around with interest as Naruto led the way. Yoshi grinned at the sight of a pet store. I'll go after the movie. Getting some more food for Pachi? Maki asked. Yep. He loves the treats from that store. Sounds nice. Should we grab anything? Naruto asked his male friend. I mean, we can probably just buy from the cash registers inside, Naruto said. Even if those prices are kinda mean on the wallet. Then we should just buy stuff outside. Nagatoro said with a smirk. Come on, gross brothers, surely you don't want to pay for all that CRP. Naruto rubbed the back of his head as Naruto looked away. We don't. See? But we can't just sneak stuff inside, Naruto whispered hotly. I mean, how would we even do that? Knowing Sakura, she'll have a big enough purse, Hayachi said with a finger tapping her chin. All things considered, she's usually the one we'd have holding all the food. Can't sneak drinks in, her arms would totally break, she sweat dropped. Sounds rough, Naruto said as the five made it to the front of the theater. Any news on Niji and Sakura? They're gonna be 10 minutes late but that's fine, Maki said as they went up to the ticket booth. Yo, give us 7 tickets to that new movie. She declared as Naruto rolled his eyes before stepping forward. 7 tickets, please, sorry about her, she's excited. DMN right. Then, Naruto paid and she choked a bit. Dude, come on. Nope, it's fine. You guys can just pay me back with ramen one of these days, Naruto chuckled as Maki paled. I guess, she felt pain in her wallet. It won't be that bad if we all pitch in, Naruto said with a smile. High chance he won't even let us pay for it, his friend was many things. Being a good person was a big part of all of them. As they all got their tickets and went on in, Maki pointed dramatically at the blonde boy. Not this time, time for some payback, you guys, she told the others who nodded. Come along, Padawan, let this queen of movies lead you to great snacks. Alright, Naruto snickered as he followed after Maki while Naruto and Nagatoro went in one direction and Yoshi went in another. So, what's your favorite snack? Oh. Trying to butter me up in the future? She asked with a teasing grin as he rolled his eyes. Who knows what'll happen if you're angry? I gotta be prepared. She snickered with slightly red cheeks. BSTRD, well, she walked into that one. Well, for your information, he leaned in dramatically, getting a laugh out of her. Ha! Idiot, I love donuts and Marlow pudding. Marlow pudding? Naruto blinked, confused. Have you never had that stuff? Nope. It's new to me. Well, she'd have to change that. When are you coming over next time? Maki asked as they reached the snack counter. Monday, Naruto chuckled. Alright, I'll prepare some on Monday. They got some snacks, a pack of mini donuts for Maki, particularly, before going to grab some drinks. I've never used this kind of machine before, Naruto said as Maki showed him how the drink machine lived. God, if we've got stuff like this why can't we have flying cars already? She grinned. They spent the next 10 minutes getting butter for their popcorn, chatting, joking, or looking for their friends. And they found the last 2 who'd arrived. Niji smiled at the 2 as he wore a pair of black shorts, white sneakers, and a baggy-looking white shirt with floral designs on the left. Sakura, meanwhile, snickered mischievously in a sleeveless pink dress shirt, a pair of tight white slacks, and some brown heels, the girl holding onto her boyfriend's arm before pulling out her phone and taking a picture of the bright-haired duo. Maki shot her a flat look while Naruto blushed a bit, chuckling nervously at Niji's shake of the head. "Let's just move on, where are the others?" the Hyuga asked. "We're here, there she is," Nagatoro said as she and Naoto returned with one big bucket of popcorn, a bag of small packaged candies, and a pair of drinks. "Alright, we're just missing Yoshi. I don't want to think about it," she said with a look of annoyance as a large bag of food arrived beside her. "Hey, Yoshi," Naruto said with a chuckle as the girl giggled behind her flute. "Alright, let's do this." Sitting down in the theater, the group sat in a line from Niji to Sakura to Maki to Naruto to Yoshi to Nagatoro and, finally, Naoto. With all their food, drink, and snacks divvied around, they watched the previews with some chat passed between them. "So, this has been one of the most hyped movies in recent months," Sakura explained. "It was made by the same director who did Your Name." "No freaking way," Maki's jaw dropped as Naruto blinked. "Seriously? My mom loves those movies," he said. "I did think Your Name was pretty cool. Right? I guess this is all new for you, senpai." Nagatoro smirked as Naoto huffed. "I come here with my family and Naruto's parents pretty regularly, at least once a month or so on average," he told her. "I don't know where you're going this time." Huh. He, Yoshi snickered rapidly behind her hand as Nagatoro's eyebrow twitched. She puffed up as Naoto cleared his throat away from her. "Humph," Hayachi pouted, crossing her arms and facing the screen. The movie played moments afterward, the seven watching the screen. 10 minutes in, after a good amount of build-up, they saw the vampiress from on the cover attacking the main character inside an old abandoned bunker. The man had apparently been surveying the house for his job before finding the odd vampiress. They'd been having some rather perverted conversation before being jumped by a pair of men, one of whom had an assault rifle. Then, Naoto, Yoshi, and Nagatoro jumped as the gun let loose with powerful sound effects. HMH. Yuga. Naruto started to snicker as Maki laughed. Ha! The carrots started guffawing as the three scared ones blushed. It wasn't, Naoto burned up. "Oh man. Gorilla woman, shut up." Nagatoro declared with a red face as Yoshi tucked her head into her food. "God damn it." The others laughed as the movie kept going. By the 20-minute mark, they reached a point where the two main characters went into an obviously broken-down house. Naruto's grip on his armrest tightened a bit. "No," he whispered in rising horror as Maki blinked before starting to wheeze in preparation. Maki-chan, why you didn't?" Didn't what?" Maki's grin nearly split her face. "You told me dash." Just then, a series of stereotypical-looking ghosts sprung about the screen and Naruto's entire form went white. Maki and Sakura laughed while Niji sported a knowing smile. Nagatoro noted the commotion before raising a brow at the blonde as Naoto breathed out a sigh of relief. "No way, are you serious?" she asked him in disbelief, but her cackles soon followed. "Oh my god, you're a worm." Yoshi hid her own horror at the ghosts. They can never know. She'd be ruined. Shut up. Naruto wheezed out as his eye twitched at a pair of ghosts smothering the screen. Ghosts don't need to exist. A bit hypocritical, but he meant these types. Hagoromo-jiji, he's sorry. I suppose they are bothersome on some level, Niji admitted as Naoto nodded rapidly. I am not exactly great at this stuff, but it's not that bad, Naruto. He told his first male friend. They're basically people in sheets. Maki shook her head in amusement. He's basically right, she said, but her amusement shone through. Yes, I'm getting so much DMN mileage out of this. She cackled mentally, leaning back in her seat with her hands on her armrest. Then, there was a giant monster ghost. Naruto's hand snapped down to hers while his other one crushed the other armrest beneath his free hand. Maki froze before going bright red as the others looked on in amusement, Naoto included. Getting real comfy, Jiemao-chan, Sakura said with half-lidded eyes and the smile of a hyena. HM. Shut up. The girl burned up as she tried to fight the accusations. He's just scared to hell and back. Right, Nagatoro snickered as the bright-haired girl growled. Oh, nothing, she said with a smirk and a sly grin. Maki-chan, she imitated Naruto's voice, getting a growl out of her taller friend. Maki steamed as she stared at Naruto's clamping hand and the destruction of his other armrest. Seriously, his control eye is pretty good, she thought with a red face, settling in with a grumble, flexing her hand a bit and feeling some leeway. She turned a brighter shade as she snuck looks around at her amused friends before slowly turning her hand around and gripping Naruto's back. By the halfway mark, both bright-haired teens rubbed the back of their heads as they peeked at their intertwined pair of hands. Oh, DMN it, they thought in unison, not looking at one another with blushes. How'd this happen? Well, Maki remembered but Naruto hadn't, the boy trying to come up with a scenario where this hand-holding could take place. I don't know, had he been the one to do this? Or was it just an accident? Honestly? He kinda enjoyed it. Maybe he was just being an oblivious idiot but he liked having another hand in his, like this. And was actually pretty alright with it being Maki's. Maki, meanwhile, flexed their grip a bit. God, he's totally noticed, alright? She kept her gaze away from him, that lovable blonde. His hand is so warm and big, great, now she was just being a pervert. She drummed her fingers against his knuckles before gripping them powerfully, head scrunching in a bit. They were happy with this little arrangement probably more than they expected. By the end of the movie, the seven had gotten up and left, walking out the theaters with lighter expressions. Maki stretched her arms above her head as Naruto rolled his shoulders. It was a pretty good movie, she said as Sakura grinned, body hidden by Niji's. We should probably do that more often, Maki said with a bit of a blush. We held hands the entire time. Good God, maybe outside of eating something, they kept on doing it. If anything, that made it worse. They'd let go, eat, wipe their hands and then put them back together again. What exactly did that mean? Did Naruto like her? Did she like him? Naruto was thinking the same thing, did he like Maki? Did Maki like him? Mind-controlling questions, those ones. Naoto, meanwhile, raised a brow at his friend's look of contemplation before finding Nagatoro on his back, chin on his head, and grin shooting on all cylinders. He, this is gonna be fun, she whispered to him and he hummed. Do you think they like each other? Naoto asked her, getting a blink out of the girl and then a jump as he held her legs. Like, seriously? He asked obliviously. Nagatoro blushed bright red before whistling off to the side for a bit only to turn her eyes back on the duo in question, Yoshi chatting with them about some part of the movie. I don't know, maybe. I guess if it's stumping a girl, it is a confusing situation. She pouted at his lack of acknowledgement before huffing and plopping her chin right back down on his head. Your hair got way too long, she said, confusing him. Oh, well I'll probably go to my usual barber, Naoto said as she blinked before grinning and patting the sides of his noggin. Nope, you're gonna get it done by me. What? Yep, I used to do my bro's hair all the time, I've gotten good at it, she grinned mischievously as Naoto swallowed nervously. It'll be fine, I'm serious, I got some tools for this. Naoto looked nervous. Just a bit off the dash. He was regretting his bit of confidence all of a sudden. Monday afternoon, the group stood within the art clubroom. The boys sitting in chairs with smocks thrown over their bodies. How did this happen? Niji wondered as Sakura grinned with stars in her eyes. Usually, Sakura's more subtle than this, he muttered. Naruto hummed at his fully released hair. I guess this was coming, he admitted, looking up at his bangs. God, my hair's getting too long, no wonder they noticed. Naruto hid his involvement in all of this, looking embarrassed. This won't be that bad, right? He asked the girls nervously. Hayachi snickered as she held up some buzzing shears. What? No. He trembled. Naruto's eyebrow twitched. And Niji looked at Peace. I'm no fool, Sakura would kill every person in this room before someone shaved off my hair, he said calmly as the short girl's sweat dropped before clearing her throat at a dark aura from her side. Put the shears down, Hayachi, the normally demure girl said with an ominous presence. Well, that settled their fears a bit. He kicked the last one to finish this off. She watched him, trembling with a few tears rolling down her cheeks as the last body hit the floor. Haha, he let out ragged breaths, wiping his mouth, covered in wounds and blood. She swallowed as she walked away from the side of the building, locking eyes with him. Brown met blue, his eyes always were that kind. The kind full of a sort of power and confidence she didn't have, not alone. Not like him, Naruto Uzumaki. Naruto walked down the hallway. So alright folks, that's all for today. Stay tuned for part 3. Do subscribe, like and share for more such videos. Also check out the story and author Nasha Rei-Kun on fanfiction.net. Press the bell icon to be notified first on release. See you in the next video. Till then, goodbye.